Hi, welcome to another Battle Report, Age of Sigmar, 2000 points, Slaves to Darkness, Nurgle themed, against Disciples of Tzeentch. The battle plan is First Blood. We've done this one before, so there's 3 objectives. Usual thing, if you control 1, you get 1 victory point. If you control 2, you get another. If you control more than your opponent, you get a third. At the beginning of each battle round, the last time we did this we forgot, the player going second has to pick one to be the vantage point. If when you receive your command point, so this will be in the following battle round, you control that vantage point, you will get an extra victory point. Sorry, not an extra victory point, an extra command point. Now, a little discussion here. Because the Glottkin has been used a little bit, I thought, right, we'll do the hat trick. So I've brought the Glottkin in as a coalition for Slaves to Darkness, but he's not going to do well. Now, what we've got here is Disciples of Tzeentch list. Now, we had a little game a little while ago with Blades of Khorne against Disciples of Tzeentch. Obviously, Tzeentch are very good from a magic point of view. In fact, very, very dominant. But what surprised me a little bit with Khorne is they're very robust as well. Like, in my army, I have multiple units that will be able, in the old rules, in 2nd edition, to have re-rolled saves. They've removed that and means it's +1 save now. And you find that in army after army. Tzeentch still get their re-roll save. So, and what I found is I had a Khorne army, and I had a double turn, and I still couldn't break through the main lines. So what I'm going to attempt, what I'm trying to explain is, strategically with this army, I'm not going to think to myself, oh, Tzeentch glass cannon, I'll just smash into it and then, you know, take whatever mortal wounds, but then I'll start making gains. I won't, because this is not as strong as a Khorne army. So I'm going to have to try and play cunning to pick up the points and win that way. Is basically what I'm going to explain here. I finished deploying first, so I am going to choose for Tzeentch to go first. I'll explain what's going to happen, so it's not a surprise then. I know full well that Star's going to cast a load of spells, and he's going to then, because you've got Cult of Summoning, isn't it? Guild of Summoning. So basically, as soon as you've got 9 discipline points, you can bring in his Lady of Change. So that'll be there. And the Gaunt Summoner's in there as an ally. He can dump down 5 pink horrors as well. So that's what, about, how many points is a Lord of Change?
420.
420, so that'll be 580 points that's just going to appear in front of me in addition to that. So,
and more if I kill any of your guys using spells to bring...
Of course, Chaos Spawns, yes. So this, this is going to be interesting, but I'm going to give him the first turn, not because of the usual, oh, you know, he can't do much in the first, he can do a lot with the first turn. It's just, I daren't give him an opportunity for a double turn. So that's the strategic thinking there. In terms of grand strategy, I've got Hold the Line, which is, I need to keep my battle line units alive. Good luck with that. Tzeentch has got, of course, Prize Sorcery, because we've got lots of sorcerers. I'd have to wipe the unit to basically deny him that. But we'll go into the first turn. We'll be back after the first movement phase. So after the hero phase and movement phase, so many spells were cast. Basically, Kairos gets to cast a spell on very low casting roll. To let everyone else within range of him re-roll. He gets, obviously, to take other people's spells as well. So, I think in the end, was it 10 or 11 spells he cast? 11. So, obviously, 9 of those have been now used in the hero phase to bring in the Lady of Change. The horrors, I mean, this is another thing. I didn't realise this. So, the Gaunt Summoner summons in the horrors in the hero phase, which then means in the movement phase they can still move. So this objective here is pretty well secure now. Also in range of this one, so at the end of the turn we'll get definitely the 3 victory points for that. The battle tactic was the run, so the run has been achieved there. So I'm just trying to think if there was anything else. Yes, Kairos now, is it permanently +1 to cast?
Yes.
So he had an ability which if he got 2 spells off, and he can cast 3, if he got 2 spells off that were cast on over a 9 or 9+, was it?
9 up.
9 up. Was easily done anyway.
Yeah.
Then for the rest of the battle, he's got +1 to cast. So he's got that now. So he's even more dominant. The Sangor were buffed to hell, so they've got +1 save and re-rollable, is it now?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're untouchable. and things just moved. Some things ran, some things just moved, just to make sure that around those two objectives at least. So, you know, there is some shooting maybe, but other than that, the battle tactic will be achieved and the 3 points for the objectives will be as well. Right, so after the shooting at the end of Tzeentch's turn 1, so the horrors fired at the vanguard. I did spend a command point to give them +1 save because I just didn't want any. I need to last as long as possible in this game. It did help them actually save a wound, so the vanguard haven't taken any wounds. I will just point out as well, we've got quite a lot of arcane terrain here helping Tzeentch as well. Like, both of those pieces of terrain are arcane, so they've permanently got at least +1 to cast around there. I've actually got one here, but my wizards have had to. Apparently, they're cowards. They've had to back. Right, they've had to back away in the corner here. But we'll go into my turn. So at the end of this one, Disciples of Tzeentch are on 5 points. That is 3 points for the objectives holding 2 and more, and 2 victory points for the battle tactic as well. So we'll be back at the end of the movement phase for Slaves to Darkness. Okay, so at the end of the Slaves to Darkness hero phase and movement. So hero phase did get off the Metamorphosis cast, only just. Technically was shown some mercy on it. So basically my Chaos Lord and Karkadrak is a monster. So when I was able to run with them, that's run with 3 monsters, so I'd get an extra victory point for that. I put a command ability, purely because I wasn't going to spend it on anything else, on the Knights at the front, to be able to re-roll charges and +1 to hit. So they are the pink horrors that look cyan of they redeploy to try and sort of block off some of my charging, but I'm still going to aim to charge in there. I have got a re-rollable charge. I can still charge into the Kyric Acolytes quite easily. I might need a big one to avoid the pink horrors. I wish to avoid the pink horrors at all costs. It's only 5, but it represents 25 wounds that are not easy to take off. I summoned in some marauders here, so that they're all within 6 inches of that, so I can just about capture that one now. So I will have 2 objectives, so I will max out on that as well this turn. There won't be any shooting, but there will be. I will attempt to charge and then see what I get after that. So there may be some fighting here, and then we'll see what happens in battle round 2. But we'll be end of this turn after I've attempted my charge. Right, so at the end of Slaves to Darkness turn 1, it was very successful. The charge, I rolled in 11, they get +1 anyway, so 12. So I was able to charge into the Acolytes and still remain more than 3 inches away from the Blue Horrors to prevent any sort of piling in shenanigans there. And we've wiped the unit out, so that was a useful +1 to hit on them. They didn't need the reroll charge, but they did benefit from the +1 to hit. I do have a couple of knights within range of that objective, and I've got that objective, so it's 3 points for objectives, 3 points for the battle tactic because it was completed with monsters. So that's where it is. Slaves to Darkness 6 points, Disciples of Tzeentch 5 points. The trick now will be, for as long as possible, trying to remain ahead. So we'll see where we are at the end of battle round 2. We'll go into battle round 2 next. Star will re-roll ties because he went first, and then we'll see where we are from there. Right, so at the end of Tzeentch, so Tzeentch did get to go first in this turn. So I picked as the vantage. Which one did I pick? I changed it to over there, didn't I?
One.
That's going to prove to be. Actually, well, it is and it isn't actually. To be honest, if I cannot, because I can't capture the middle one. The middle one's secure. So if I can't capture that one anyway, I'm losing the game. So in actual fact, yeah, that was fine. But I would have had more chance of actually holding on to that one if I'm honest. But it is just an extra command point, not an extra victory point. In terms of casting, many things were cast again. I did actually deny one thing, but still, many things are cast. So you're on 15 fate points now,
yeah,
which is what the spell's mostly cast for. They did destroy the Chaos Knights over there. To begin with, they were actually defending themselves very well against the mortal wounds. They get a 5 up to ignore mortal wounds, but in the end, it sort of fell off a cliff. So they're all dead. There's another couple of wounds taken off this unit of Chaos Knights as well. In terms of damage inflicted so far, that is it. There is going to be a shooting phase, going to plink off some Chaos Marauders there. I may have to give them +1 save. But we'll see where we are with that. Just trying to think if anything else spectacular happened. Something. You moved that Gaunt Summoner there for a reason. What
Oh
was
yeah,
that?
miss Arcane Bolt.
Oh yeah, Arcane. Did he? So at the start of the next phase, he could do his Arcane
Yeah,
Bolt into
just-
the Knights. That's right. So there we go. So we've got the shooting phase coming up, and then charges. Actually, there's probably not going to be any charges, but you never know. Who knows? And then we'll be at the back at the end of the turn. The battle tactic chosen was to take an objective off me, which will be achieved with that one. So that's fine. That's easily done as well. So the end of Tzeentch's turn 2. In terms of shooting, 2 Marauders were plinked off. That wasn't too bad, but it does mean that that objective was captured. Doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because that objective is captured over there, and obviously that one is super secure. In terms of other things that have happened, so the pink horrors, I didn't really appreciate this one, but they've charged me. They failed on the first one, spent their command points to then re-roll it, and did get that charge off. Now that's actually quite huge because it prevents me with all of those guys rushing over there and getting onto that objective. The Varangard are stuck in combat. They can't do anything because you can't pile in too close enough to get to them. So just again thinking tactically, what I'm going to have to do in my next turn, even then I'm going to have to commit things where I didn't want to. I'm going to have to fall back with the Chaos Knights because at the moment the Varangard are just stuck. Basically my options are I could keep the Chaos Knights there and I could fall the Varangard back to get near the objective. I may think about that because they count as 2 models each. So I'm going to have to measure things up. If I can't, I'm going to have to fall the Chaos Knights back so that the Marauders can pile in into combat and get and start to. Now that I'm stuck in combat with the horrors, I am going to have to start whittling them down. But I may have to move my Chaos Sorcerer or Manticore and get a charge in to get him onto the objective to make sure I capture it. Basically, it's all desperate stuff. I've got a narrow... Okay, at the moment, technically, I don't have a lead. But at the end of this turn, I would hope to have a lead. It's about maintaining that lead as long as possible. It is basically about bunging things onto objectives as much as I can. And just trying to do that for as much of the game as I can and hope to last. But at the end of that, so Tzeentch has got 3 points again for objectives, 2 for the battle tactic again. So they are on 10 points to Slaves to Darkness 6. So we'll go into my turn, we'll be back at the end of the movement phase. Okay, so at the end of Slaves to Darkness turn 2, I've taken the battle tactic Conquer to recapture an objective, which I will do with that one. In the hero phase, spells-wise, it was all a bit grim. I did get a Mystic Shield off, so I put that on the Glottkin. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord chose their finest hour. I've made him the general for this one, so I could summon in another unit. He's going to die. I'm going to give away some easy Slay the Warlord points, unfortunately. But, you know, I have to take that object. I just have to play it turn by turn. I have to take that objective. I've fallen back with the Knights. The Varangard they don't look in combat, but they are within 3 inches, so they're going to have to pile in there. The Sorcerer Lord is going to have to go in and hope to get a decent charge roll and try and block off when the horrors multiply, getting close enough to that objective. I need to have captured that objective. In terms of other movements, so the Chaos Sorcerer has moved over there. The Chaos Knights have fallen back just to swarm around that objective. Things here, nothing really... Well, the characters ran, but nothing else ran. As soon as I moved up with the Marauder... Well, it doesn't actually matter which unit it was. There's all of those 3 units would have been within 9 inches. So the Acolytes redeployed back there. I'm okay with that. I really just needed to capture that objective. If we put off, you know, combat for another turn, it doesn't really matter. This objective at the moment is reasonably secure for me. That objective over there is the main contested one. Turn 3 could get interesting, but for now the plan here is try and actually mince those horrors. It distresses me to do this because they're free. Because what was it? The Gaunt Summoner costs 230 points.
Yeah.
That's 160 points worth of things he summoned. So the double wizard is costing 70 points really. But it has to be done because as I have to attack them. I can't just not attack them, and I am in combat with them. So unless I fell back with the Varangard, which I could have done, and I could have made sure of that objective over there, but despite certain accusations, I'm not actually a coward. So I've committed the Sorcerer Lord over there. Tactically, I'm just going to point this out now. This is not tactically astute. The tactically astute thing to do was to fall back the Varangard and have the Chaos Sorcerer Lord over here somewhere to stay out of range of some more spells. But the thing is, the more that block encroaches, and it'll just move up a bit further here, at some point everything's going to be in range of their spells, at which point I'm dead. So I may as well take the initiative a little bit. Unfortunately, there's no way of me getting an extra point on the battle tactic here. It is going to... We'll just have to see what happens in turn 3. But for now, the plan is charge with the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. I think I still have charges over here. I'll have a little think about that. And then see what happens. But I've at least got that objective. I just need to make sure I retain that objective. And we'll be back at the end of this turn. Right, so at the end of Slaves to Darkness turn 2, it has gone very badly pear-shaped. Just to go through, in terms of charges, the Chosen got in, it took a reroll, but they did get in, and they just charged both units of Acolytes. You can see there's very few left there, so they've killed all but one in one unit, and there's about half the unit gone in the other, but some of that was battle shot loss. Over here, this is why basically we'll go through. We're going to play battle round 3 just because there's so much still left on the table, but it is now mathematically certain that Tzeentch would win. Reason being, the horrors were able to obviously... I had to get this... Well, I did say earlier on the tactically astute thing to do was to have fallen back with both the Chaos Knights and the Varangard. I could have made sure of that objective over there. I didn't do that because it just seemed too negative, and this is just a friendly game, not a tournament. So I've gone in with the Chaos Sorcerer Lords to try and get 5 things onto that objective. The problem is, so I have 5 things on the objective there. I have 4 Knights. They only count, because they've got 3, you need 5 wounds to count as 2. So they only count as 1 each. So I have 9 things on there. The horrors piled away from the Varangard. So the Varangard are no longer in combat. So they can't pile in at all. So they're not in combat. And obviously I have to attack the horrors. That just generated more. Not that it would have made any difference anyway. But basically, Tzeentch has more stuff around the objective. So Tzeentch retains that objective. So I only have 1 objective. I only score 1 point for that. And I got the battle tactic because I still captured an objective. I took the safe one there. So what will happen is, going into the next turn, if I take the first turn, what Star would do is he will take that objective away, because whoever goes second takes an objective away. So I would lose that objective. And then, you know, that one is secure for Tzeentch, and that one is being fought over. But I have all my stuff over here, I can't get over there. At which point, I then struggle. It's not impossible, because I did summon in, I might have forgotten to say, summoning a unit of cultists over there. So, you know, I would be able to get onto that objective. So in the next turn, I would be able to take that objective. And I'm not sure if I could actually score a battle tactic, but I could consider that. It might... Actually, it would be possible, because I could take out a battle line unit, their battle line. So I could get the battle tactic as well. So that's fine. In theory, that's okay. I'm getting... but if that objective's taken, I only get 1 point still for the objective. At which point I'm already behind, and Star in his turn could then commit more of those forces over there to retake that objective, and then he'd get 3, and it just goes on from there. If Tzeentch goes first, I could take an objective away. I could take that objective away, but then he can commit all of his forces over there. He'll probably commit some over there as well, but he could commit all of his forces over there to make sure I am stuck only ever been able to, as long as he can get battle tactics, he is ahead. So if he cancels out our ability to score victory points from the objectives, he will always stay ahead. And obviously he's going to whittle more and more things down. I haven't diminished his power to cast spells. So just like he took out a unit of Knights, and Chaos Knights are actually good against mortal wounds. He took out a unit of Chaos Knights, he will easily take out the Sorcerer Lord. He'll just delete things turn after turn. But as I say, because there's still a lot on the table, we're going to play the next battle round, and then we'll complete it after that. Right, so Slave to Darkness did win, so I've got the double turn. I did choose to go first because it is the only, again, we're just doing this as a spectacle now, this battle round, and it's the only way for me to get victory points reliably and make a bit of a fight of it before certain things are deleted. So what's happened in terms of casting, nothing went off, did it? In fact, my Glottkin even miscast and did 3 mortal wounds to himself, the maximum amount.
Actually, I got a Mystic Shield off because I
it.
denied it.
Yes, you denied it. And yes. But I got no spells off. So nothing else of consequence. I might regret this, I might have been better off. I'd actually forgotten my Chaos Sorcerer Lord had taken a wound. I might have been better off trying to heal him. But I didn't. I tried to get a command point, failed again, so that was good. My general also failed to get one, but that's fine. I mean, that is average. 1 time out of 3 is 5 up. It's given him 1. So, in terms of movement, the Marauders moved up anyway. They might try and get charge off. Why not? The Chaos Warriors moved. These guys both just moved. They're going to look for the Vanguard. Everything's just going to move and ram themselves into that. Why not? At this point, the Splintered Fang have moved over there. The Furies then redeployed over here, so the Splintered Fang won't get a charge off, but that's okay. They are mostly on that objective there. The Chaos Knights could slam into the Horrors and at the very least stop them getting more near the objective, just to make sure of that. The Vanguard will have a choice if they don't go into that of going into the Horrors as well and add in some more units near the objective, just to make sure I at least get that objective. I should get the battle tactic, which is to destroy a battle line unit. There's only 1 model left in that battle line unit, so that should not be a problem for those chosen. And there it is, so we'll go through. I'm not actually sure whether he's in range for shoot, actually. Is he shooting 12-inch range? 8? Oh, probably not. We could check anyway. But there's probably not shooting, but there will be charges, and then there will be combat. We'll be back at the end of this turn. I will just point out, though, obviously, as we discussed, Star took away that objective for me because he's going second. And he held the vantage point there, so we've got an extra command point for that over there. The new vantage point is, of course, this one here. Okay, so at the end of that, most of the charges actually got... Well, I say most of the charges, that's actually a lie. These 2 failed spectacularly. The Glottkin I even gave a reroll to. He needed like an 8. Failed that even on 2 goes. The Lord failed as well. He needed a similar number. But the Chaos Warriors got in. The Marauders failed. They got a double 1. Anything more than that, a 3 would have got them in because of their +1 to charge. But no. The Knights charged into the Horrors there. The Vanguard charged into the Sangor. The Horrors have been sort of depleted there. The Glottkin, as it happens, could shoot into those, but he failed. So there's like 6 of those Brimstone Horrors left, so whittling them down. The Lord of Change, Lady of Change sort of ran in there. So basically there's lots of clumping went on. Some Sangor died, some Chaos Warriors died, a Knight died, not a lot else, 1 chosen. And then I did get the battle, there's only 1 left in the other unit as well. So I got the battle tactic there. I obviously only hold 1 objective because, you know, there's loads of stuff around there for Tzeentch, but I do hold that one over there. So as I say, we'll go into this last one for battle round 3, where I have a good long look because I expect some deletions here, and then we'll recap at the end of this turn. So after Tzeentch's turn 3, in terms of the, obviously lots and lots of spells were cast. We will point out at this point enough to have summoned in another Lord of Change. We're not doing that for 2 reasons. We don't have one, and secondly, we're not. we're not going to proxy it with like a vampire when the game is gone anyway. Now, just to sort of highlight what, in terms of key spells that happened, obviously the Sorcerer Order Manticore was obliterated. Goes to reason. Fold Reality was done on the horrors, so we have now, is that 5 pink and a blue?
Yeah.
So they're onto that objective now. Really doesn't matter what I do at this point. That objective is now in the control of Tzeentch. The Lord of Change could have moved around to make sure she was in range of it as well. It really doesn't matter, because if I'm back to killing pink horrors, that's just going to spawn double. Every pink horror I killed spawns double of those. So there's no issue there. That objective is going to be held. So at the end of this turn, we're going to obviously finish the turn, but at the end of this turn, that'll be 2 objectives, unless you've been silly enough and you haven't pulled too much away from this, so that's fine. So you'll have 2, so you'll have 3 for that. You've already completed the battle tactic, plus an extra 1 for killing a monster. So that's 6 going to be scored at the end of this turn. So that'll be like 7 points ahead. No, sorry. What did I say? That'll be 4 points ahead. I'm on 12 at the moment, which is what I mean about no coming back there. But that's where we are in terms of movement. So the Kairos moved over here. The Furies moved. To shield him, I did just say the Glottkin has been so useless. Not that I've given him many tasty jobs to do, but it is not unlike, installing automatic machine guns against a possible attack by a butterfly. I really wouldn't have worried about it. If anything, the Glottkin's going to be charging over there if I were to have another turn. But at this point, so what we'll have is shooting, then we'll have charges, combat, and then we'll summarise at the end of this turn. Right, so at the end of that, we'll call that the end of the battle, end of turn 3. It was, I achieved what I needed to achieve. Whose go was that? That was your go. So yeah, what we've got, the objectives, captured that objective over there. So Tzeentch have got both objectives. We'll have to turn that light off, otherwise we won't be able to see it. So 3 points for the objectives, 3 points for the battle tactic, because the battle tactic was to kill a monster, but also killing a monster in the realm of Gur gets you an extra victory point. So that's up to 6 victory points for the turn. So that's 16-12 ahead with Tzeentch. So just to go ahead on how it would go from here. So in turn 4, if I got the first turn, if I got to go first, I could reliably capture that subject. I could do Monstrous Takeover. I could get the Glottkin in. I might even try and cast Metamorphosis on that and maybe get it off. Who knows? Probably not, but you never know. But I could rely with the Chosen as well, and with everything moving over there, I could reliably get hold of that objective. I could certainly kill enough Zangor to make absolutely certain of that. So I'd have an objective, I'd have the battle tactic, which would only get me 3. So at that point, I'm 1 point behind. In Tzeentch's turn 4, they just delete things again, just like they did in every turn with the magic, because they're close in now. There's nothing out of range. They'll destroy things. They can easily get... The easy battle tactic to get is just to move 2 things over here. They don't even have to try and capture that objective back. Just maybe move some things in position. Get 2 units into my territory, one of which is close to it in anyway. Gets that battle tactic. Even if they just hold that one, they're back up to 4 points ahead. Going into turn, and that's worst case scenario for Tzeentch. They can guarantee having a 4 point lead again. Going into my battle round 5, it's not possible for me to even draw unless I can hold, at the very least, get 4 points, which is not possible without capturing both objectives, and that objective is now impossible. And the other thing to point out, in terms of battle line, all I have, because my grand strategy is hold the line, I've got 2 Chaos Knights and 5 Chaos Warriors, which have a defense against mortal wounds, but in 2 turns of Tzeentch, if they made sure I couldn't get the grand strategy, that again means that they don't have to worry too much about battle tactics or objectives at all. So, straightforward win for Tzeentch on that one. But, like I said, the aim of this one was not to go crashing into them, because when I did go crashing into them, I lost out every time. I always lost. It's one of these things. I learned this watching a Khorne against Tzeentch army. Khorne smashed into them, decent units, with a double turn, and still didn't break through. They are very, very tough. A 4-up rerollable save, for example, is very, very strong. And 2 wounds on each of those as well. You know, the acolytes aren't up to much, but, you know, they don't need to be. And then, of course, you've got all your characters. The characters are basically unscathed and destroying things left, right, and centre. But there it is. Next week, we're not entirely sure. It'll be 40k. Not entirely sure of the armies just yet. But that'll be for next week. In the meantime, hope you found the game interesting anyway. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And until next time, we'll see you later.